Greetings, I am Erin Patton, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the MetaBusiness Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings, I am Erin Patton, also known as Master L, and welcome to today's MetaBusiness Millennial podcast. I am live across all social media channels. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and I am just so happy to be with you today because today is a very special event. Today is the live MetaBusiness Mastermind, a Q&A where I invite you all to tap in, to give me your questions. Let me know how you're feeling, whether good or bad. Good questions are welcome too. It doesn't always have to be about challenges. And I can sit here real time, channel for you directly from source, directly from, my experiences to really share with you how you can get to and through your issues, the good, bad, and the ugly with ease, because that is really the goal. And for all of you that are new to my channel, I highly recommend and encourage you to follow me at I am Erin Patton across social media channels. And the MetaBusiness Millennial podcast is across podcast networks. And also share this with friends if you want them to tap in and ask questions live. Leave comments, DMs, all the above, reviews, all that. I really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and tap in. I'm just seeing everybody coming into the room. I see people there. It's looking good. And I really appreciate you guys being here. And as I wait for the questions to start rolling in, I did do some pre-work and I invited you all to respond to some poll questions in my Instagram stories. So I think I'm going to just start with those first until you guys can get your questions tapped in and typed in. So take your time, no rush, because I was really struck by the question when I asked, what are some of your greatest leadership challenges to date? Like for people that follow me on Instagram. And overwhelmingly, people noted solving money issues. And the close second was around like resolving conflicts, I believe. And I can go back to that too on my Instagram, and I'll probably do like a little direct response to that poll. But the one that really stuck out to me was money issues. And I remember because I showed it to my friend in the moment when I saw that. And I was like, oh my God, like this really is coming up for a lot of people around money. And particularly people who are in the healing space, the spiritual space. I also know that this is a challenge for folks because there is this a little bit of hesitation around making money doing things for spiritual purposes or to serve people. And there couldn't be anything more I would say misaligned, for lack of better words. And we have to really understand that our money issues are deeply rooted in our childhood upbringings. And I know sometimes people are like, damn, Erin, we hear these same things over and over. But I want to encourage you to really take the time, if not right now, you're hearing me now, to come back and listen to this and listen to it from a space of openness and receptivity. And I guarantee you're going to hear it in a different way. Because the money issues really come from a deeply rooted sense of lack, a deeply rooted sense of not feeling secure. And we find and attach security to our bank account and to money. When we were kids growing up, you can't have that. It's too expensive. You can't have that. We don't have the money for that. You can't have that. There was constantly, money doesn't go on trees. There was constantly the reinforcement that money was scarce. And even when I got into my graduate school education, I always tell this story because it's just so it's such a very stark reminder of how we are conditioned and programmed in this world. I'm at Harvard Kennedy School of Government. I'm in my core economics class, and I remember one of my classmates who I actually had on this podcast, Casper, um, was really challenging our professor around the baseline assumption in economics that there is scarcity in our world, that we are operating from scarcity. So we scarce resources, so we always have to accommodate for scarcity. And that is not fundamentally the truth. We live in an abundant world and an abundant reality, particularly if you choose that reality. And so it is around the key to solving the first step and the key to solving the money issues starts with shifting your reality around the scarcity versus the abundant. Understanding that there is plenty of everything. And this is also written in scripture. I will never forget there were some times when we were talking about the flowers of the field. And I really want us to start thinking about that. And I want to encourage you guys to go ahead and type in your questions because I'm just responding to a previous poll. So please type in your questions. And coming back to the scarcity mind, this is fundamentally where you start to resolve the money issue. And I know you're like, Aaron, I'm trying to get the money right now. Well, I'm trying to tell you how to keep the money once you get it. Because if you say you hit a lick or you get some really great opportunities and you get the money in the bank account, how do you hold on to it? Because you're just going to go back to where you came from, because you have to be a vibrational match for the money that which you want to call forth. So this is why I always talk about, if you want to be a billionaire, if you want to be a millionaire, you speak this over yourself. You feel the vibration of a millionaire. I say you walk like it, you talk like it, you breathe like it, you perform like it, like a millionaire, a billionaire. And then it's no surprise when the money starts to come in, when you start to get treated certain ways, you're VIP this, you're that. Sometimes you're not even paying for the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just happening for you because you are vibrational match to it. Yet if you're walking around, oh, I'm so broke, like I don't have it right now. I don't never have nothing. They always, doing stuff and I'm always, saving my pennies. That is reinforcing a lack money issue mindset. So first of all, you have to reorient yourself around your abundance frequency. Where do you stand? Acknowledge all the abundance that's around you if it's not your money. Wow, I have such a lavish home. I have such great yummy foods. I have such great friends. Acknowledging the abundance of all the other things around you and watch the money situation change. And I'll come back to that. But I just wanted to jump into it while I was waiting for the questions. These are some long questions. Y'all. Okay. You have to be so formal with the questions. But but I just wanted to jump into that and really address what you guys were speaking to in the story polls, and we'll come back to that. All right. So I'll start with Katie Cat. Um okay, this is a good one. How can we as business leaders develop our discernment to recognize and foster genuine leadership traits in ourselves and our teams? Okay, so how can we as business leaders develop our discernment? Let me start with that part and then I can, get to the second part. Okay, so this is actually a challenge that I brought up in my last podcast around what was something that I needed to work on. So I'm glad we're bringing it back because then I can speak to it from a different perspective. Because discernment absolutely is your awareness. Period. Discernment is how we perceive ourselves and the people in the world around us. And how can we develop that sense of awareness? Is by awakening to what's happening within you. And we really are not as in tune with our bodies as we should be. Yet there are lots of signals that literally come from our physical body, whether it's a cramp in our stomach or a pain in our head or a crick in our neck. Like these are all signals of things happening in our being and likely in the world around us. If it's a cramp in your stomach or in your gut area, likely that's anxiety. If there's a cramp on the right side with your liver, that's anger. If you have a cramp or a tightness in your neck, that's certainly stress. A very preponderance of stress. Headaches usually have to do with like lack of sleep, with being able to not think clearly. So being able to listen to your body helps to develop that sense of awareness and discernment, first and foremost. And then the second piece around how you start to develop that discernment in the people around you is by being willing to be open and transparent with the people around you as much as you can be, to the level that you can be. Because the more transparent you are with the people in your lives, the more likely you are to see them and they see you. And it may not happen immediately. Like I talked about this in my past around how my discernment, I couldn't see people. I couldn't see their devious ways. I couldn't see their manipulation until I felt like it was too late, but it was likely right on time. Yet I kept questioning. I kept challenging them. I kept challenging myself in the relationship. That helps to expand the awareness, the curiosity, the questioning. That is the key to the expansion of awareness. And, even in that listening to your body is asking, what do I want? What do I want more of? What do I want less of? I want more yummy, fun experiences. I want less stressful, depleting experiences. Okay, that starts to expand your discernment and your awareness. I'm starting to see, hey, like this is really, triggering me. Maybe I need less of this in my life. That's starting to grow and activate your awareness. Good day, good morning, everyone that's coming into the room. So I hope that answers your question around increasing discernment for yourself and for your teams. The key is that awareness of your body, of your emotions, of what's happening in your life. That starts to expand your personal awareness. And then having that same level of openness and communication with the people around you starts to allow you to see each other, what is truly called intimacy. Intimacy, as it was broken down to me at some point, was into you I see, into me I see, intimacy. So as that intimacy starts to develop, then you start to see that person and that person can start to see you. And then either y'all grow and continue to build as a team, or that person falls off and goes their way and you go yours. And that's totally fine as well. That's happening for me in many ways. And it continues to happen for me. And I'm really grateful for that. When that alignment is no longer, beautiful and yummy, then it's time for that, energy to go its own way. So I hope that's good for you. So I'm gonna come to YouTube. Okay. This is a good one. With the increasing influence of social media, especially for political personalities, how can business leaders leverage social media and these platforms to promote authentic leadership and change in their organizations? This is really good one. Um, so, social media, as I've talked about many times in this podcast, is a beautiful platform, a beautiful tool that at one point caused me severe anxiety. And I'm sure for a lot of business people, it does as well, because business people, particularly how we were trained coming out of business school, we were not really trained to be public figures and personalities. And that fundamentally is changing. Everyone is now a public figure. Everyone has a potential to be a public figure personality. And particularly for business leaders, whether a big company or just starting up, it's super important for people to see who's running the company. It's just a shift essentially in what's happening in our world. Like we really want to get to know the people behind the business. We really want to get to know the leaders behind the business. And being able to have that purview, if you will, or that visibility into who's leading the business actually builds more authentic and what I believe to be stronger brand loyalty. Because, like, I mean, I want to give examples, but let me just keep with this explanation. Because as we start to see who you are, see what goes into creating your business, and learning more about you, we're building a relationship with you. So it becomes a very personal attachment more than just a commodity attachment to a thing or a service. Now it becomes an even deeper connection. It's a soul to soul connection. And so just from that level, I mean, is a, really, in my view, starts to help to understand the benefit of creating and utilizing a platform like social media or your websites, or even if it's internal communication, to really take a stand in your business, and people can start to build trust in you and with you. And that's the whole thing that political figures do. It's really about the people loving them, falling in love with them, and then voting for them. Like if you get to know me, you air out all my dirt, you get to know all the things about me. I laugh it off, I play it off, I'm hugging babies, I'm partying with friends, like, and I'm publicizing this. Of course, the people will be endeared to you, particularly if it comes from an authentic place. So for me, I believe a lot of the politics is manufactured. I mean, I went to the School of Government. They teach classes on how to be a politician, literally. So the authenticity for me in politics is gone. And that's my personal opinion. And that's the most I'm going to say about politics. Yet, as business leaders, we actually have the freedom to be authentic, actually, and build a sustainable business that can last well beyond 4 to 8 years. I'm talking about 40, 80, hundreds of years, potentially, if you do the business foundation setup strategy plan correctly, if that's your vision. And so, as a business leader, to show up authentically, what better way to do so than on social media where everyone can see you? I mean, fuck a following right now. We're really just about connecting to the people that are there, right there in front of you. And I think that's the piece too that triggers people, is like, oh, I don't have that many followers. Like, because that's me. That was me. But okay, but the followers that I do have, how am I going to show up for them? How are they going to know who I am? How are they going to connect to my message? What actually does connect to them? So it's really about starting from where you are as a business leader, whether in a startup or an established business or a incredibly global business. Being able to put yourself in front of people, to get that trust, to communicate your values, to communicate your vision, really helps to accelerate the path. You got a whole bunch of co-creators here with you right now. And that's exactly how I see social media. I put so many of my intentions in my stories, not so much in my feed, but I'm really co-creating with the people that are watching me, because I really feel like those that are for me, we already know the scripture that says where two or more are gathered in my presence, I am there. And everything that I put out is with the highest of intention. So if there's another person that shows up for me, and that's activating my vision and my dream. So in many ways, you can look at social media as an activator when you come from it with the right intentions. And that's really what my next question would be about, is really about how do you cultivate the right purpose, full intention, clarifying your purpose, and getting to that platform that you want to share on. And I hope that's clear. Um, yes. So thank you guys for the comments, and and really affirming what I'm saying, that it's resonating with you guys. I want to go back up to the question. Oh, these are some far reaching. Okay, so this one comes from LinkedIn, and it says, what are some key strategies for leaders to maintain their mental toughness, so that they can be performance ready, that they can, endure difficult times. Mental toughness, mental resilience is a thing. And I'm kind of gonna no, we haven't talked about that, but I kind of want to weave it into what's happening with the Olympics. Right now, the Olympics are going on in Paris. And one of the top things that you hear from athletes, like what I've always heard from athletes, is around mental toughness. Got to be mentally tough. I got to be mentally tough too, because we're all at this elite level physically. So I guess the tipping point is the mental resilience. And getting into some key strategies for leaders to help maintain that mental resilience and really ensure that performance. Ooh, well, first and foremost, you got to tune into yourself. Mental resilience is around understanding your own mind. How can you be mentally tough if you're not even present with yourself, present with your mind? So, this is not about doing anything. It's more about doing nothing, doing nothing. And whether that's I feel like I say the same examples, but it's really relevant here. Whether that's sitting in a bathtub, going for a walk, sitting in your room, gazing at the sun, sipping some tea, lying in your bed, but with no distractions, no TV, no music, unless it's kind of like soft, kind of like frequency vibes, nature sounds, talking to yourself while you're washing the dishes or driving in silence, talking to yourself. People growing up will call you crazy. You talk to yourself. You are crazy when you don't talk to yourself. When you're brushing your teeth in the morning, when you're looking yourself in the eye, that's the best time. When you're looking yourself in the eye, talking to yourself, prophesying over yourself, uplifting yourself, loving on yourself. I remember the first time I told myself, I love you, Aaron, I started to cry. I had never done that, experienced that level of emotion before. And imagine if you did that every day. I used to say that was a mantra of mine. I love myself. I am me. I love myself. I am me. And I guarantee you today, right now, I definitely love myself for being me. And my mental aptitude and resilience is top notch. That is the key strategy for me that I highly recommend in building one's mental resilience is really understanding your mind, understanding your emotions, understanding what triggers you, so that when you're faced with any kind of challenge, whether it be the economic challenges in a company or the performance metrics in your reviews or in certain aspects of the business, you are ready to go. You know how they say when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So when you're staying at the forefront of your consciousness, at the leading edge of your consciousness, you are always ready. And that's exactly what we need in this day and time, people who are unapologetically themselves. And I know there's so much conversation around evil and hatred and racism and blah, 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 blah. If that is where someone is unapologetically, you respect that and you move on if it doesn't resonate with you. So it's really about unapologetically representing and being yourself. That's the key strategy for mental resilience. And understanding that you want to get better. You fall short today. Okay, I learned that. Let me do better next time. And that's how the resilience continues to evolve and grow. The strength grows with your practice, with your recognition of self, and then the practice to improve, the continuous improvement, the Kaizen. I speak to about that too because I went to Toyota factory in Japan, and that was such a cool experience. I will never forget that. But it's really a practice of moving intentionally, maybe more slowly, listening to yourself, catching yourself when you fall short, and then making changes incrementally as you go. So I think that's some really good strategies. So, um, okay. So, next questions. Come on, guys, give me more questions. Okay. So this one's talking more about politics, which is great because I feel like a lot of people don't know which way to lean. And, as I was just kind of getting into to that a little bit in the previous question, it's asking, as a presidential run heats up, business leaders obviously are intrinsically connected. Business people are intrinsically connected to what happens in policy. And, how can we start to really discern genuine leadership traits? This is the question amidst agendas, promotions, and what we see particularly in media. Very good question. Very good question. How can we as leaders start to look at these other leaders that are running for office and really make a sound decision? Because there's so much wishy-washy in these agendas. There's so much wishy-washy in these advertisements and these promos. Who can really lead me? Who can really lead me? I mean, realistically, as a leader, who can really lead you? If it's not someone that is directly connected to you and invested in your growth, I would say nobody. Okay. It's going to get really controversial, yeah. I'm sorry. I just got to go there because what we're seeing in terms of leadership is not leadership. It's definitely theater. What we're witnessing is theater. It's theatrics. And this is fundamentally why I, Aaron Patton, and founder of the Meta Business World, came to this planet to do what I do. I came here to inspire your true leadership for yourself, for your community, for your family, and for your business. Because what is happening in this world no longer serves us today. And that's truth. So, in answering your question around how to discern quality leadership traits, well, use your inner compass. Look these people in their eyes. Do they truly resonate with you? Do you really believe what they're saying? Or is it because they have a certain skin complexion or ethnic background or gender identity that resonates with you? Because those things are not truth. Those things can actually be used against you. So you really must start to tune in, tune into yourself, tune into what you're feeling when you hear these people speak. Does it fill me with good feelings or unease? Without what other people are telling you, without what they're actually talking about, really feel the energy of what they're saying, the intention in which they move, the places where they go. And these will start to be the signals that you can use, whether they're political presidential candidates, whether they're other political candidates, or even just people in your life. We have to wake up. And when we wake up, that's when we start to feel the truth and see the truth and experience the truth. And oftentimes it's painful, it's sad because people aren't living up to our expectations of them. And we have to let it go. Just like we have to let this system go. It is no longer serving us. It never had. It never has. And for us to be trying to fit all of these round pegs into these square holes that were actually never designed for round pegs does everyone a disservice. So, really, if you're asking me about how I feel about this leadership that we're having right now, it's certainly not to the level of leadership that I speak to, the level of truth that I represent. And to be able to discern that certainly is on you to reflect on and review and to see. Yet for me, it's about rebuilding. It's why I go so hard, like the few episodes back, around building a sound infrastructure, building a solid foundation for cities, for communities, for civilizations. This is the work that I came here to do. And this is the work that I believe that all of you came here to do, which why I call it New Earth leadership. We're here to start embodying those leadership traits that I have been talking about already up until now, and that I believe are lacking from the people that we see in our leadership positions today. We really want to start arcing towards leadership traits that really speak to all of the things that we want: honesty, transparency, truth, doing what you say you're going to do for me and my community, things looking better around me, not looking the same, not getting worse, not more violence, not more atrocities. More? Really? So this speaks to an age that no longer serves us. We don't even like these things. And we're openly talking about these things, yet they continue to perpetuate because we allow it to. We allow the systems to continue. We still buy into the systems. It's a covert contract in many ways. In many ways, it's an explicit contract when you vote. I have a lot to say about this, and I didn't really want it to go this direction necessarily. But when I think about what's happening in our country right now and in leadership and in presidencies and these races, to me, it's theater, it's entertainment. It really doesn't make a difference to what's happening in my day to day life. And you should feel the same when you are a sovereign individual. And when you're a sovereign individual, you govern and you control all that happens in your life. The law, as it relates to you, reflects you. And that's what sovereignty is. That's what I represent and what I speak to, and what we're experiencing on a global scale, on a national scale: theater, entertainment. And looking at these characteristics and these traits, you mean you can use your best, discernment in deciding which way you want to go if you choose to go that way, or you can put your energy towards yourself, towards what you're building for yourself, towards what you're building for your community. And I bet you it's going to return way more than what it would the other way. And that's just where I have to leave it. Um, okay, so I don't know how that resonated with you guys. I'll leave that one there and keep going to other questions. But this question is, what are some strategies that women in business can utilize to keep boundaries when working with men in business? Ooh, that is a very good question. And oh, it's such a good question. Okay, so women, and I'll do this both ways, so I won't feel like I'm targeting men or targeting women. But when we're talking about what are some ways that women in business can utilize to keep boundaries with men, I don't want to say the same thing over and over. Know who you are. First of all, I gotta say that. Know who you are and know what you want from that man. Because I firmly believe that the boundaries are what you set. Like their business and pleasure to me should exist. Business and pleasure should exist. So if you're feeling vibes from a man that feel like he's into you and you like that, then you may need to call it out. However, if you're feeling vibes from a man that is into you and you don't like that, then it's really about holding your center. And in Tai Chi, in Tai Chi, we actually would say like squeeze your anus because that helps you to ground your root chakra. And so that allows you to really be fully present and not receptive of that kind of sexual energy that he may be putting out. Because as women, we are beautiful. And I don't fault no man for liking me or giving me googly eyes, even if it's a business situation. I'm not mad. I don't see that as assault or harassment. Some men are really come from different cultures, come from different backgrounds, may not have the security in the moment to hold it together. But then that can also let you know how far you want to go in business with this man. If you're able to hold your center and stand your ground, literally, squeeze the anus, breathe, relax your lower abdomen, make eye contact, smile, be soft, and that energy for him continues to grow. Like he's not good at reading social cues. Like he should be able to see like, oh, she's not into me like that. Let me get back to business. And if he's not able to get back to business, likely that's not a man you want to do business with. However, if it's someone in your organization who you have no choice, you still have to work with this guy, then you have to know how to hold and stand your ground energetically and physically so that you won't feel penetrated, like literally, by his sexual energy or advances. And nor will he probably go any further because you're holding your energy and you're letting it be known, my dude, I have no interest in you like that. And I think that's such a good question because obviously, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm constantly interacting with men. And of course, men are going to want to hit on me, and I'm single too. So, of course, men are going to want to hit on me first and then talk about business or kind of a little bit of both. And it's really about me being like, well, we can talk business and I'm gonna still be here in my swimsuit, looking cute, but you're never gonna get this energy from me. And I'm really I don't even have to consciously think about the squeezing of the anus or the holding of the energy because of the grounding that I'm really able to establish and the knowing that I have that of my mate. Like I'm really focused on who my mate will be. Like he's like already here in my mind. So it's like I don't really need to flirt with all the guys. Because when you think about it, a lot of times women and men start to flirt because the woman also likes the attention. Point blank, period. So then she starts to engage and flirt back, and then it becomes her work husband or her work this. And then when he grab her ass, oh, then it's harassment. Well, not to say that there aren't circumstances where it happens inappropriately, but then there are some circumstances where the woman may not have been sending the right signals to the man. So we really have to, as women, be very responsible for how we hold our energy and how we carry our energy so we don't engage the energy. We don't engage the advances. And that is an awareness, of course, which it seems like you're there with that awareness. And you really want to be able to feel into your body so you can still have and even utilize the flirting for business. And this is something I talk to my mentors about because sometimes the men want to work with you because you're so kind and you're beautiful and they like you. What's wrong with that? You got to know where you stand. And men, too. I think it's great for you to know where you stand. You like this woman and you respect her and you got to respect the energies and don't go too far with it. And I think that that's a beautiful question because I really wish that more men and women could work better together and understand that there could be blurring of flirting, of liking, of being intimate with each other without being sexual with each other and enjoying each other's company because the polarity is there to be enjoyed and to be playful with. We don't have to all be like men in the work environment to be productive. Literally, we women have turned into we're wearing suits and we're wearing short hair and we're walking like this, and to not be um uh influencing the man, as to not bringing that sexual energy in the room, when the sexual energy is a very beautiful energy. It doesn't always have to be acted upon. Yet if you guys choose to, then that's something that really needs to be discussed, I would say, early on, about the attraction, about the boundaries. Essentially, there just has to be a lot more communication. I do believe that people can be lovers and do business together, be friends and do business together, be very platonic and do business together. They're all very different permutations of relationships. And it's just really about, first of all, holding your energy, being very transparent in your communication, and then deciding, of course, which way to go. Yeah. I love that question. Oh my God. Thank you for that question. That was very good. I'm going to do one more question before we sign off today. But thank y'all for bringing these really great, insightful questions. Ooh, I like this one because I was talking about it already. Um, with the high stakes and competitive environment of the Olympics, what lessons can leaders draw from athletes' experiences to enhance our approach to performing well, to managing stress, etc.? Great question. Great question. Because I really believe like the Olympics and sports in general represent the current landscape of business. Very highly competitive, very self-focused, not really not really communal. There are team sports, but of course teams are competing against teams. And what can we learn from their experiences to really help manage and our stress and drive our performances? And so I have to say that one thing that we can really learn from Olympic athletes is their level of commitment and discipline. I don't know any other, sport athletes, physically are very always superior. Obviously, there's genetics that go into that, but then there's also the training and the cultivation that goes into that. Most of these athletes have been training since they were children. And I know what we as business leaders can't like go back to our childhood and train as CEOs. However, we can take that same approach to our work. What I talk about, the mental resilience, the mental training. So, like how athletes get up every morning and are working out in the gym. I mean, I've really started to engage a fitness practice that I feel like has catapulted me to the next level. I highly recommend that you start a physical practice as a business leader if you don't have one already. Most are already really fit and are dedicated to that. Yet that is one thing from these Olympians that we certainly could start to embody more of, is the physical commitment, the physical discipline, the nutritional discipline, the supplement discipline, the hormonal balance. Because a lot of what we experience emotionally can be um, healed, cleared in physical work, in physical exercise, in eating, in our nutrition, in our diet, in that which we sacrifice in terms like sugars, alcohols, things that I'm constantly trying to cut out too. And athletes too struggle with that, of course. So I feel like, it sounds kind of mundane, but at the end of the day, our body is our temple. The spirit, the metaphysical, the soul, all that I talk about literally came here to experience this physical body. And when we aren't tending to our physical body, we really are doing our soul a disservice. Our soul came here to feel like our little toes and, the rumblings in our bellies and the softness of our hair. Our soul came here to experience this physical 3D realm and to, of course, get lessons from it, the physical body. So the physical body certainly is an opportunity to really start to grow your soul, manage your stress. I can't tell you how many times I done been going through some shit and I'm in the gym crying, praying because the emotional turmoil that's happening in my being is manifesting in my muscles. And doing these sets and doing these lunges, it's really coming out of me. And that's beautiful because you don't want the stress to be stagnant in your body. That's actually what creates dis-ease. Like still water, like where all the mosquitoes are in the nasty water, like running water is pure water. Stagnant water is diseased water. We are 80% water, our body. When we don't move our body, we become stagnant, we become diseased. When we move our body, then we become pure. That's one of the greatest lessons we can learn from these athletes. The discipline, the commitment to the body, the nutrition. I also feel like being able to bounce back from a loss takes tremendous amount. That's the kind of gets to the performance question. When you were talking about like how can you use their Olympic insights for performance? Like when you lose and then you got to come back. Like for example, Sha'Carri, like how she lost 100, now she got to come back and run the 200. I really am sending my light to her. And this is something too, as a leader, trust me, I done had some setbacks. I done had some losses, monetary losses, relational losses, relationship losses, literally people dying in my life, losses like that. How do you bounce back from that? That takes skill. That takes commitment. That takes a deep knowing of yourself and your path. And as a leader, you really have to be really, really clear about what you came to this life to do and trust that every loss that you experience will be given back in multiples, exponentially. Like that is not a loss, that is a misalignment. That energy is no longer aligned with me. That life is no longer aligned with me. That experience is no longer aligned with me. It's time for me to experience something higher. Trusting that. And that's even in my relationships. Like I've been dating and I'm like, oh, like I got ghosted or this person didn't da 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 da. Aaron, you got something better for you down the line. That helps me to bounce back from heartache. What can seem really trivial and girly can feel really painful. That's why I never trivialize people's emotions. I never trivialize what people are going through because you feel it and it hurts. And congratulations for feeling it because that's a step away from being numb to it. We used to be numb to it, but it's important to feel the heartache of the loss because you can transmute that energy. That energy can now be used for higher good. Now you got both sides. You got the good side and you got the pain, and it comes together and you transmute it, and then you're like, ah, you know? That's how you do it. In Tai Chi, you take the energies, the yins and the yang energies, and then you transmute it for the highest good. It then quadruples, multiplies the power. So I believe that, our athletes are really models for us. Of course, they have their work that they need to do. They're not perfect, but they have achieved such on a physical level, it really catapults their soul energy. They have so many lessons that they have to practice just in this small span of time. And it's really a lot that we can learn from as leaders. Luckily, we're not on, a world stage. We don't have everybody, well, not all of us, but we don't have a lot of people watching us and depending on us for anything. Like, there is a little bit smaller stakes for sure in business. Maybe not. But either way, it's a practice for a bigger stage one day. This right now is practice for you, for business leaders. And I really feel like, what we're seeing in the Olympics played out can easily be played out in our own personal lives. Again, the discipline, the nutrition, the supplements, the paying attention to what's happening in your body, your emotions, the bouncing back from losses, seeing the losses as misalignments, as opportunities to experience something greater. And I think that's going to be the end of the today's Q&A. I really am so grateful for all of the fires and the claps and the excellence and the yeses and the affirmations, and to see that a lot of you are still in the room. And I just want to thank you for being here, and know that the meta business world, the work that I do, the work that we do, is targeted to do what we did today: solve issues, and doing it from a higher level, from a higher frequency, so that you are always aligned with the best outcomes. And we do that in 3 different ways. We have the Meta Business VIP days, the activation days, where I come in as a speaker. I come in and support you and your teams, and really elevating the experiences, helping you guys see that there are greater opportunities for you. And of course, doing the energy clearing, the energy activation. That's a beautiful and the metaphysical part of it. And then also I have my meta strategy offerings, where I do vision and values work, where we really clarify your company's vision, clarify your personal vision if I'm working with you one-on-one, and really aligning values to help you get to that vision. And then last are the meta coaching options, and that's working directly with me. And it can look a few different ways, but very straightforwardly, it's working with me one-on-one to get you to your next level, to your highest level. And so I really encourage you all to stay tapped in to the Meta Business Millennial. Of course, message me directly at I am Erin Patton if you're interested in any of my services. And of course, join us next week. We're back every week live, the Meta Business Millennial. And until then, much love and light. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatton.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.